Well, Icubian Organis is back with you again. And Happy New Year to everybody. I hope you have a good and prosperous and positive one for your life's outcome. Today is the 16th of January. I did a video on the 1st. Unfortunately, I'm pretty new to this and I'm only trying it out to make sure I get the sound right and content right, etc. And I promise to actually produce my own broadcasts in future. So I'm going to recap on some of the stuff that I've done before or said at the time but didn't get released. Some of the topics that have come up of late in mainstream media, and I am going to offer ways in which one can start to think for self, as opposed to somebody you don't know, you do not have any concept that have programmed you to think you're thinking for yourself, and you are not. Okay. So first things first, my ancestors come from Caribbean, and England are in the Caribbean playing the West Indies at cricket. I'm a cricket fan as well as a football fan. So, hence the flag. They call it the West Indies. Team's called the West Indies. West Indies cricket team comprises of a collection of the islands: Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, Windward Islands, Leeward Islands, Guyana, and so forth. Right? All those within the sphere of the UK, which is cool. Once ruled the world. At the moment, we're struggling. So they're having a practice match at the moment, and okay, the test series will start soon, and the one days and the T20s. I think it's 3 tests, 5 one dayers, and 2 T20s. Okay, for those who don't know what that is, well, for those who do, there you go, right? So, the 16th of January is the day after Theresa May. I might as well start with that. Theresa May, her Brexit proposal, which isn't really Brexit, was voted down in Parliament. So maybe today she will resign. If she was a man and was honourable, as most of these ex-prime ministers do when they lose the vote, the proposal, whatever it is, they lose, and if there's a vote of no confidence, they pretty much leave. But she's a female, claws, side of the boat, going to go screeching down, just like the blackboard. She's not going to sort of say, okay, you know what I mean? But be that as it may, that's where the UK is at this moment in time. It's fighting for its freedom. It wants to get out of the globalist EU, SSR, slave state. And it is a slave state. There's no doubt about it, okay? And if you don't know anything about what wasn't spoken about in the run-up to the Brexit election, you only got to look at my videos, and you'll learn something. So, what's been in the news of late? Well, I've not seen any of these shows, but there's been a huge hue and cry over R. Kelly. There's been a documentary it's called Surviving R. Kelly. And those of you who don't know, been living under a rock, some years ago, R. Kelly, a sexual pervert, deviant, a man of taste, an acquired taste, if you will. He likes having sex with teens, prepubescent, but teens. And he was on a video. I saw it. It's leaked. You probably can still go online to see the video. And he was, at one point, he had his face in one girl's bum. She's sitting on a chair, the chair, she's got her arms on the back part of the chair, so her arse is hanging out where and he's down below with his face like he's looking for something he lost in there. I mean, he's actually eating out, or licking out, or sucking out her arse. And it was going on and on and on and on and on. I'm like, what is that about? It's sick, right? And then in another video, he's got this girl who happened to be 14 at the time, and he's giving her what they call a golden shower, peed all over her, right in front of the camera. And then he gives her $100 and she takes it and smiling and all that business. He's pissed all over this child. Somebody's baby. Somebody's little girl. And you know what? She let him do it. R. Kelly's a great music, not going to lie. and so forth. So they've got this program called Surviving R. Kelly. They've got the girls who are no longer in his harem, if you will. Might as well call it a harem. It's a bit like the late Hugh Hefner. And I've been saying it already. Hugh Hefner had some bunny girls in black leotard, and he used to have a white pom-pom, a like white fluffy thing to signify the bunny. And I said, all R. Kelly has to do is get some red leotard, put the girls in there, and get a fox fur tail on it, and call it, these are your vixens. These are your, video vixens, or, play vixens, or whatever it is. Same difference, right? Apart from the fact that you were caught on camera peeing all over a 14-year-old. Well, you know what money can do in clever lawyers. Even though we've seen it and we know it's him, even though R. Kelly's brother, Kerry Kelly, told everybody, there's obviously fallen out, that R. Kelly paid him £50,000 if he would say the person on screen was him. Which is ridiculous because they don't really look alike, although they are blood brother, mother and father. They don't exactly look alike. So, but if he offered that to his brother was like, hey, no. They fell out over that. And according to Kerry Kelly, R. Kelly got his connections within the music business and blackballed his brother from making music. The moral of the story, or the upshot of that story is, even though we've seen it, we are led to believe that seeing is not believing, even though you know it's R. Kelly. He got away with it. He did not go to jail. He did not, he still can let go and he can do what he wants. So that case is over and done with, right? The case that they actually had the evidence, somehow somebody got paid off, whatever it was. We all see it. It's a bit like seeing Kim Kardashian giving Ray J a blowjob. Now you might say, we didn't know whose dick it was. How do we know it's Ray J? There's an argument to be said. Yes, you were cuddling up with her that day in the bed, but the dick might not have been his. Could have been a double. You could argue that. But you can't say Kim's face wasn't sucking dick. It's like that. How would she win that case? How would R. Kelly win the case? Okay, he did, right? So he's obviously paying somebody back behind the scenes some big money, and he's willing to be that slave because he doesn't want to go to jail. But that's the case you should have got him on. They didn't. So the upshot of this documentary, as far as I know, it's a six-part series, are girls who willingly went to R. Kelly, and he willingly kicked them out as much as he'd had enough of them, and he's got a new bevy of girls in to do whatever he wants. And, I really don't have any sympathy, really. It's hard for me to say that because that's how he rolls. And this Me Too movement, #MeToo movement, needs to stop. And this kind of guy in a centric world we live in where women can do as they want, whenever they want, put themselves in danger, and everybody else is to blame, and laws must be put in place to protect them, but they don't have to change their behaviour one iota, even though they're bringing the danger on themselves and the problems on themselves. I am not with it one bit. If you went up there because you wanted to go up there. You had the luxury of being up in these mansions and being flown around and free concerts and having sex with a big guy. You know what I mean? The big soups, the big dupes. And you gave him every fantasy he wanted. He's got you on camera. You had your time. And now, I don't know, maybe you put on a little bit of weight. Maybe you begin to grow out of your teens and ask a question. Maybe you just don't shift quick enough. Whatever it was, you volunteered for the sex slavery, and now you're being obstinate. Whatever R. Kelly's case is, he does have a right to say, leave. And at that point, if you got $2 to rub together, consider yourself lucky that he didn't kick you up your ass, because, you went up there voluntarily, knowing full well his history, marrying and interfering with Aaliyah, 15 years old. He was in an interview some time ago, and the guy asked him about having sex with teens, and he was like 19. Like, he was confused, like, as if 19... He doesn't understand that 19 is still a teen. 18 is still a teen. Do you know what I mean? It's teen. He's a big man. Why would you be... And allegedly, I can't really say much, but allegedly he's been actually going to girls' schools and getting his cronies to go and recruit girls from schools. I mean, this is really... But my thing is this. If that's who he is, fine. But when women go up there, voluntary, don't come crying after the fact. You could tell a woman about some guy that you know, and you like her, because she's been a friend, and you say, don't go with him because X, Y, and Z. She's going to say, you just want me for yourself. She's going to find every excuse and still go with that guy. And that guy, you know, is going to come back to, it happened to me once. I said, from that moment, I'll never tell anybody anything because they're not going to listen to you. I've got a younger sister. She's not going to listen to me. In fact, she don't listen to me at all. She does what she wants, whenever she wants. So, you know, be that as it may, dig it, live in it after the fact. Don't want to hear no moaning. So the R. Kelly thing, that's my view on it, really. I'm not supporting any feminist stupid movement where women can get to do what they want, and when it doesn't work out for them, then everybody else is to blame. Now, this idea, I'm following on from that. It so happens, this Me Too movement is really a pain in my ass. Well, it's not a pain in my ass, it's just, it never gets rightfully challenged on the media. And there's two ways you can challenge things, you know what I mean? But you have to be allowed to make that challenge, and I don't get that chance to make that challenge. Mainstream media, they know my phone number, so they don't let me on. So I can't ring in and give them the third option, if you will. But anyway, there is a song called Baby It's Cold Outside. That got to go, da 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 da, da 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 da. Da 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 da. If you know the song, you know the song. I don't know the words. So I was listening to LBC, and there was this whole furore about the song lyrics and how the song lyrics are misogynistic because and the whole thing is the guy's trying to ply her with drinks, get her drunk so he can have his way with her. And how bad it is, me too, you know what I mean? This kind of stuff is terrible promotion and all the rest of it, right? So the girl, so I went and looked it up, because one thing I don't really do is get triggered. Insofar as my emotions come out, I may get triggered to say, let me have a look at that. Where is the evidence for it? Let me see for myself. And determine through my own discernment, my own reasoning, what's actually going on. Having listened to the outrage, if you will, over a song that's been played all over the world and been covered so many different times. So I can't remember what the movie's called, but in the movie it's Ricardo Montalban. Ricardo Montalban, was he the guy from Love Boat? Anyway, he's a Latino actor. And he's the guy, and I don't know who the actress is, but, you know, he's got this girl, checking her, she's come around, or whatever it is, in his flat. And they're having what's her name, and the story is that she feels she wants to leave, things are getting heat, and you know, he's like, oh, I ain't finished with the charm yet, you know, have a drink, you know, he's trying to get, you know, as we all do, you know what I mean? Of course, within reason, you know what I mean? You think that you don't try, you gain nothing. You know, they say faint heart never win fair lady. I've been in that faint heart situation and never win no fair lady. You have to be alpha and aggressive about it. And when I say aggressive, I'm not talking caveman aggressive. You've got to be assertive. Possibly that's the word I should use for you snowflakes out there. So he's what I would say trying a thing. So freeze frame, the Me Too movement see that and they interpret it as being him being a sexual deviant or to take advantage. Well, you've got to actually watch the scene. And she's giving as good as she gets. He's flinging lyrics and she's flinging it back. If you know what banter is, that's what it is. The whole song is banter, right? He wants, and she's putting hand in her face and saying, nah, you know what I mean? She ain't saying she don't like him, you know what I mean? But they're on that kind of free song where, you know, it's not going to go over, he's charming, and she's saying, yeah, I know, you know? She's going to keep it together, right? For whatever reason, girls do it, but they do it. And you allow them, but you don't get angry about it. What the Me Too movement did not do was watch the whole of the film, or the whole of that song, because I did, and you can YouTube it. I may connect it to this, may not, I'm not quite sure, I haven't really got the editing thingy down to a T. So I want to get the message across, and I've got so many points here I want to make. The point is, it looks to me that there is a friend of Ricardo, it might be a friend of, Red Skelton's in it. Anybody know Red Skelton? He's a bit Danny Kaye-ish, you know what I mean? He's not exactly the most forward-coming when it comes to ladies. So the same song is playing, and Red Skelton's playing the cowardly man, and whoever the actress is, she's the one pursuing him. A bit more aggressive, I may add. right? So you see how they can edit things and get a reaction, and before you know it, the feminists and all these idiots start saying bring in laws and this and that and ban this and ban that. Yet it goes both ways in this video. So you know, in terms of going forward, don't get triggered emotionally. If you have an internet, if you don't have one, get a pad, make notes, write down the date, write down the title of the item or the issue, and do some cursory research. You'll find that you understand how the media works to manipulate you, and they do. Having said that, there's another advert out. Now, this one's a recent advert. I don't know how new it is. It's about the Gillette razor advert. And this has gone all over the media again, and it's all over Facebook again, and, you know, it's one of those narratives that are deeply divisive. But if you actually look at it and you train your mind to say, well, what's going on here? And you actually know what to look at, you'll see it for what it is. Now, it came up on somebody's Facebook feed and comment. So I commented. Oh, there's loads of comments. And the kind of comments are, you know, I am butthurt is one, weak, all kind of epithet cast my way, and I wrote back, and somebody said, "Oh my," or "good grief," or words to that effect. I said, "I know you guys like to call me triggered and butthurt and all of these things, right?" Or anybody who was saying it. Well, let me explain the advert. The advert is one of these things where they are saying masculinity is toxic. And, you know, when men do certain things, oh, it's boys will be boys. And, you know, that's basically, you know, being a man is violent and it causes war. And look how we are from boys. And it's condoned by elder men to make boys be the way. And we want to break the cycle of this toxic masculinity. Okay? Where they're all caring and all that business. So I watched the video and I said, well, hang on a minute, there's something definitely wrong here. You see, they'll show you actors playing out a stupid role, and the actors will be there saying, boys will be boys, right? Then they'll show you another one, and they'll show you the actors. Now, everything's played out by actors. And then they'll clip to a film with real footage. Because they're saying that, you know, they're saying in real life, we're not caring, we're not considerate, and so forth. But the footage they put up there was of real men. Real men stopping a fight. Real men doing what real men do, keeping men in check. Real men protecting. And so, I'm puzzled because I'm saying, well, hang on a minute. On the one hand, you have to invent a scenario to say that's what real men are. Right? But how you want real men to be, you actually use real footage of how real men are. So the question is, that's how real men are. Because you've got the real footage. You have to invent and use actors to give you this image that men are stupid and perpetuate nonsense. Ta-da! So I said, I understand you guys being triggered, but who's being triggered? You're being triggered. I just said, look, I could teach you. You can't teach me. What you can give me is your pejorative epithets and neat memes and, you know, catchy phrases, hoping to get some notoriety about how you can put somebody down. But what you can't do is teach somebody to look at something and see what they see and evaluate it. And I've just done that to you. Just the once. It's for free, just the once. Look at the advert now and tell me what you think. Just look at the advert now. It's a bit like Brexit and the Brexit bus. I'm having a conversation with my mate and he wants to dominate the conversation about the Brexit bus said, 350 million. I said, yeah, really? Now go and look at the bus and tell me where it said that. Tumbleweeds. What I'm trying to say. No, not what you're trying to say. It's what you just said. And what a lot of people said. They keep saying there was a lie, but the bus is still there on every. Just look at it. What does it say? It doesn't say anything about promising any money. All right? No 350 million was promised to the NHS if we left Brexit. The boss is there. It's simple as that. Sorry, I'm looking over there, but we're actually looking at you. So, this is how you look at media and identify what's right and what's wrong and what they're trying to do. Because out of your emotions is where they say, oh, well, public emotion. It's a public concern. We got to do something. That doesn't have to be... Look, the public, or some public, said the Loch Ness Monster lives. Sasquatch lives. UFOs live. I mean, come on now. I mean... You just need more educators and you need to listen. You don't need to listen to these... moving on. It's 2019, so here we are. I'm going to tell you from now on, do not pay that much attention or take serious your Pan-Africanist Afro Centrics. Don't do it. You can listen to them, but don't do it. And anything they say, check it out for yourself. There are some things that are true and some things that patently aren't true. So I am going to give you some markers, if you will. Number one, any organisation that supports Kwanzaa, go the other way. You are more intelligent than those people. You are more smarter than those people. You will have something to offer your people as opposed to them. If they cannot see and they refuse to look into Kwanzaa and the history of it, but you can read it and realize it's fake, made by the FBI and their stooge Melana Ron Karenga. It makes no sense for African Americans anyway. Cause let's go into the a little bit of the history. I think the first person I actually read, I think was one of these people that I didn't used to like. That's Ann Coulter. I was doing some research and I found an article and I was like, oh, is this the same Ann Coulter that's arrogant and so forth? Can't stand her, right wing, Ray. I understand her now. I like her now. But she wrote a piece. It's still online. The FBI, the celebration from Kwanzaa, the celebration from the FBI, or something like that. You read that. It talks about Malala Karenga. How his organisation, the US movement, some people think it's the United Slaves, but it's nothing, it's just us, right? You might well say it's the United States. There's your FBI connection. What it was, he's jealous of the Black Panthers. The Black Panthers were not anti-white. Let's get that straight. The original Black Panthers were not anti-white. What they were anti-police brutality, and you could see it. Setting dogs on people, water cannon, beatings, you see it, right? Kicking people on the ground and setting dogs. They were anti-police brutality, especially during an era of the 60s and civil rights. They had food programs and schooling programs and so forth. And as I said, they were primarily, I think probably a little Marxist, which is understandable. The system wasn't catering for them. And so they were an armed resistance group that the Second Amendment, they have a right to bear arms. You have a right, in fact, in the Constitution, you have a right to overthrow the government once it's in it's in the Constitution. You have a right to overthrow it once you disagree with it on a political level and it ceases to serve your purpose. That's there. But then that comes out of the breakaway from Britain's yoke, if you will, back in 1776, 1787, whatever it was, when they actually wrote the actual declaration. Anyway, it's about freedom. But COINTELPRO is a program from the FBI to undermine black leadership, black unity, and to detect a quote-unquote black messiah. And so here's Ron Karenga, wants to get some of that cash, and who's in his way? The Black Panthers. So he wages a war against the Black Panthers. Well, a couple of Black Panthers were killed from his group. He went to jail for the torture of two black females. This is a conscious man. Two black females with a soldering iron. What do you think you could do with a female and soldering iron? The mind boggles. Now, there's probably a lot of redacted papers and so forth that you can read into. But he went to jail for it. Comes out, all of a sudden he's a professor, and he's been given cachet. Black people have been asking for reparations for the longest time. And the person they used to say was the first black president, Bill Clinton, he didn't give them reparations. But what he did do was ratify Kwanzaa. Now, why would a man do that? If you really like black people, well, first of all, they don't care about who you worship, especially if it's a hodgepodge of nonsense. Now, let's get this straight. Everybody knows the transatlantic slave trade was the process of taking African from West Africa to the West Indies, Caribbean, if you will, and to the Americas. A lot of Kwanzaa comes from East Africa, Kenya and all other places. It's got nothing to do with West Africa. So my argument to Kabengo is, was there nothing in West Africa that relates to your ancestors and history that you thought was good, that you can make and say, well, let's bring that forward and make a new... Why did you go East when you come from West? That doesn't make any sense. Secondly, if you go into the history of it, they've got a menorah. And that menorah came from a Jew who gave Karenga the menorah and broke off two pieces and said, yeah, have that. Literally broke it. Here, have that. Right? So you kind of know where the roots of this is coming from. It has nothing to do with Africans. It's made up in a classroom or a warehouse and giving them a bit of money to put out leaflets and wear some, I don't know, dashikis or whatever. I mean, America is a fertile ground because, I mean, if you look about a lot of these people, they have not been served well. They are special people. And if you look into the Constitution, especially the 13th, 14th and 15th Amendment, it's really funny because we're in the Declaration and it says, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal by their Creator, right, etc. I don't know the whole of it, I haven't rehearsed it. That means when Jefferson was, well, there's a documentary online, I've cited it in my essay anyway, and he knows that the African, or the enslaved African American, the Negro, is indeed a human, is a definite human being, so he really should have his unalienable rights. But they didn't give him his unalienable, I could just about say that word, I'm always struggling with it, I call it inviolable. I prefer inviolable because I can say that, but unalienable, yeah, maybe it's a tongue twister thing for me, but I prefer inviolable. It's the same meaning, and I'm cool with that, right? So, anyway, where was I? Yeah, so, although they were denied, and they were enslaved, the fact that the 13th Amendment was written, but it had a caveat, now you could say that was unintentional or deliberate, which they were then en masse re-enslaved through the convict lease system, because the only how slavery can still be in effect in the 13th Amendment is if they'd broken the law, and therefore you got black codes and petty infractions. They just picked up a load of black guys and threw them in jail for inordinate lengthy sentences. Think life, Eddie Murphy, right? This kind of black code system went up to 1940. That's an injustice right there. Reparations is not just about slavery and knowing it was wrong. It's about your declaration when you said these people, all men are created equal, and there you have a man, and you enslaved him and used him to help build the nation. And then when you enacted the abolition of slavery, you gave the Democrat South a way in which to continue it, and they did, to further build. So and then you got the 14th Amendment, then you got the 15th Amendment. These three Reconstruction amendments, although they were written in a way to kind of disenfranchise black people and keep them second-class citizens, at the same time during this period, kick the can down the road, they've opened up the gates for all immigrants to come in. Well, they started doing that during the Civil War anyway. So you're giving everybody who's not helped build the system a right over and above that of the enslaved African, even though your constitution said all men are created equal. So everybody who who's not even a citizen yet, so long as you come here, you're a citizen, you have these rights. But these guys who've been here long enough don't. Do you know what that means now? Thank you, Professor Derek Bell. I'm not a neo-Marxist, but you did bring a point, and call it